Hello folks, this is Scott with Dallas Paint Correction and Auto Detailing. I want to go over what is the best tire dressing for your tire. Now most of us, after we clean the tire, dry the tire, we're going to put some type of tire dressing on the tire. Now there's all sorts of claims out there about tire dressings, that they have the ability to preserve the rubber tire, they have ability to help it from breaking down. This happens to be a tire dressing that I like. It's made by Chemical Guys. I'm not the biggest fan of Chemical Guys. I feel like a lot of their products are very repetitive. I mean, how many detail sprays does one person need to have? They have like 12 different detail sprays, and I don't mean to pick on Chemical Guys, but I just feel like a lot of their products are just, there's just too many of them for. I would appreciate it if they had maybe 2 or 3 of one particular product, and that would be it. But they're in business, they want to try to make money, so they're going to sell a bunch of products to kind of please everybody. But anyway, after that small little rant about Chemical Guys, here's a tire dressing that I actually like by Chemical Guys. It's called VRP, Vinyl and Rubber Plastic Protectant. Now if I read this bottle, it says it provides a super shine and gives UV protection. Now, I just recently had a customer ask me, what is the best tire dressing to protect my tire? And I thought that was an interesting way to ask that question, because most of us, when we're applying a tire dressing onto a tire, really most of us are just doing it for the effect. We're looking for something that's going to look really nice and maybe glossy looking or shiny, or we're looking for a satin matte look, especially after we cleaned our car, waxed it, detailed it. We want the tires to kind of pop. So most of us are just doing it for a visual effect. But he asked about what's the best tire dressing as far as protection was concerned. And I had to answer that question carefully. I said to him that that's a little bit of a difficult question to ask, because if you actually believe that tire dressings are protecting the tire, I hate to say this, but that's not actually true. That's not happening. Now, I'm not saying that the UV protectants that are in this water-based dressing don't have some ability to block UV light, but really, to be honest with you, it's probably only going to do it for hours or maybe a day. After that, it's just not going to have enough UV protection to protect the tire. And the other issue is that the tire already has a form of UV protectant in it. There's all sorts of anti-ozonic chemicals in it, other types of preservatives that are already protecting the tire from degrading from UV light. So it's really not a big issue. And for the most part, most of us are applying a tire dressing just on the outside of the tire that we're looking at when we're standing away from our vehicle. If these tire dressings actually had the ability to be able to protect the tire, that would tell me as a consumer that we probably would all be having issues with the inside sidewall blowing out all the time. But I've just never heard that. I've never heard some national safety board telling us that because we're not dressing or protecting the inside sidewall, the sidewall, the inside part of the tire, it would only make sense that we would have all these blowouts from time to time, and all because we weren't dressing that part of the tire. Because none of us are going to take the tire off and dress the back side of the sidewall. That's just not realistic. So really the issue here is there a tire dressing that's going to protect my tire? One, it's not relevant, it's not all that important, and basically we're all doing it because it looks good on the tire. Now I've gotten through that rant, I want to talk about the tire dressings that I use. There's all sorts of tire dressings you can use. Basically, there's 2 types of tire dressings. There's a water-based dressing, or there's a solvent-based dressing. At the moment, I don't have a solvent-based dressing in front of me, but a lot of the solvent-based dressings or the petroleum-based dressings is going to be the stuff that you're buying at the parts store that's boy, I'm having a hard time with that word, relatively available on the shelves of parts stores. And they're greasy, they're slimy, they're really tacky, they're almost like syrupy, or they come in a spray form, and they're gooey and they're runny. Those are the type of solvent-based dressings, and those are the dressings that we hear a lot of complaints about them slinging off the tire and landing on the paint. But when it comes to water-based dressings, this is what I'm using as a professional about 99.9% of the time. There are some times where I have customers that want me to use a solvent-based or a petroleum-based dressing, because those dressings will give you more shine, they'll give you more pop. And if you like that look, you like a real wet, glossy look, and you don't mind that it has the potential of slinging on the paint, then by all means use it. It's not a big deal. Just keep in mind that some of those solvent-based dressings are really difficult to remove, and you want to be able to remove it completely for the next time you apply a tire dressing, because if you don't, it will start to build up on the tire and it will get incredibly difficult to remove, and this sticky layer of stuff, or this gunky stuff of solvent-based tire dressings, will build up a layer, and dirt and all sorts of stuff will begin to stick to it. So again, solvent-based dressings for me, or petroleum-based dressings as a professional, just isn't the way I want to go unless a customer absolutely wants it. Then I just go through the pros and cons with it, and if he's happy with that or she's happy with that, that's fine. But I wanted to go over how to apply the tire dressing as well. Now, for this particular dressing here by Chemical Guys VRP, it's like a lotion, it's like a gel, and I use a microfiber applicator pad. Now, there's all sorts of pads that you can use, sponge pads, and I don't know, I've used sponges before. They tend to break down. It just doesn't seem to give me the longevity that I'm looking for, so I like a microfiber applicator. So I'm going to put some of this dressing on the applicator, and for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to use all that much. I'm just going to dress the top of this tire. But I'm going to take this applicator and just simply massage it into the tire. What I like about the microfiber applicator is that it's flexible, it's pliable, and I can kind of get in real close along the rim of the wheel and the tire and get that tire dressing in that crease and in that seam. And if I happen to get some on the actual tire, what's great about water-based dressings, you simply take a microfiber towel and it will just come right off the rim. There's no big issue with residue or something that's going to be sticky and hard to get off. But when I apply the tire dressing, there's a couple of points that I want to bring up. If you notice on this tire, there's all these, I think this technical name for all these grooves on this tire is called tire siping. Boy, I almost had it there. I can't remember the technical term for it. I think it's siping, tire siping. But basically, there's all these little grooves, all these little character lines around the lettering of the tire. And no matter what dressing you're using, when you're applying the dressing, some of that dressing can get caught in these little grooves, and it kind of piles up or pulls up inside these grooves, and it can be a little bit difficult. I want this tire dressing to be completely dry to the touch when I'm done, and that's what's great about a water-based dressing, is that it doesn't take very long. In fact, just a couple of minutes, and that tire dressing, the water-based tire dressing, will be dry to the touch. It won't be greasy, it won't be slimy, it won't have any black stuff on my finger like from a solvent-based dressing. But again, these little character lines that are on this tire here, stuff can get pulled up inside here, and it can be a little bit difficult. Now, some guys will take a microfiber towel and just simply knock down some of that excess over those little character lines on the tire, and that's fine. But I find sometimes that doing that with a microfiber towel, it really doesn't get inside these grooves, so I like to go an extra step. I take this little blower. I've talked about this blower in some of my videos before. It's made by X-Power, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on, and if by chance I have any tire dressing at all stuck in these grooves, when I turn this on, I'll be able to blow it out and actually dry out those little grooves, so I don't have anything that could sling on the paint. So it would look something like this. Now, what this helps me to be able to do is not only blow out some of that excess dressing that may be caught in those grooves, but it also helps that tire dressing actually dry to the surface of the wheel. One of the things that's important to me as a professional detailer is I never know when the customer is going to take the car. I can completely dial the car in, and the tire dressing tends to be the last thing I apply to the car after my detailing process. I don't know how soon they're going to drive away with the car. I don't want any of this dressing to get on the car and then have my customer call me and go, Scott, I've got tire dressing all over the side of my car, and we've wasted all that effort of trying to clean the car and detail it. So that little blower is a great way of making sure this is completely dry. Now, for me, as a professional detailer, I like a satin look, a very new, crisp, satin matte finish to the tire. These particular water-based dressings, whether it's Chemical Guys, VRP, or you can use, I'm a big fan of Meguiar's. They actually have a water-based tire dressing. This is called tire and trim gel. Can be used on tires, can be used on trim. And then of course Meguiar's also has their hyper dressing, which is a great way to be able to dress a tire as well, because this product is dilutable. I can dilute it anywhere from 1:1 or 1:4, or even use it straight, and that kind of gives me an ability to adjust my shine and gloss depending on my customer's taste. So this is really great too, and it's a water-based one as well. But when I do this for a customer, and say the customer wants a little bit more of a shinier look, wants a little bit more pop, what I can do with any type of water-based dressing is just put another layer on it, and it would look something like this. And I'm actually going to try something and experiment here. I use the Chemical Guys VRP as the base coat, and then I'm going to show you how the Meguiar Super or the hyper dressing works. And I'll apply some to this applicator, and it's a spray, so you just want to get that spray nozzle pretty close to the applicator, and I'll spray it on there, and then I'll lay it onto the tire. So that's what I would do if I wanted to provide a little bit more pop to the tire, give it a little bit more shine and gloss. But I'm kind of happy that I used that hyper dressing, because it's more of a liquid, it's more of a spray, and I can actually see some of that dressing caught up inside the grooves of the tire. So I can just take my blower and simply blow out that excess dressing in the tire grooves. Now that I've blown it off, I can simply take a microfiber towel and just lightly drag it across the surface to make sure there's no excess that came out of those grooves when I was blowing it out. And now what I have is a tire. Even though I used a water-based dressing, it's got more pop, it's got more shine, but it's absolutely dry to the touch. It's not greasy, it's not slimy, and it's ready to go. The other point I want to bring out before I end this video is how far up the sidewall do you actually want to dress the tire? And for me, when I'm dressing a tire, I actually want to go a little bit over the sidewall and a little bit onto the top tread of the tire. And some people ask me, why do I do that? Well, I'll put a little bit of dressing towards the top of the treads, and there's a reason for this. When this car goes down the road, it's going to create a perfectly uniform pattern or a perfect line all the way around the tread of the tire. So the tire with the tire dressing is going to look absolutely uniformed all across the face of the sidewall and up here on top of the treads. Now I couldn't be able to duplicate that perfect pattern, that perfect straight line with my hand, so I take advantage of the fact that the car is going to drive down the road, so I'll go over the tread a little bit onto the surface of the wheel, not a lot, just maybe 1/4 of an inch, and then I allow the road to actually create a great definition or a border or a line all the way around the tire, and the sidewall is completely dialed in and looks great. And I think it absolutely looks fabulous. But that's basically what I use and how I apply the tire dressings. I use water-based dressings over solvent-based dressings. The solvent-based dressings, just a lot of headache, a lot of sling. The other thing about solvent-based dressings or silicone-based dressings or petroleum-based, however you want to look at it, even if you felt you got it pretty much dry to the touch, the one problem with silicone-based dressings or these solvent-based is when they get hot. Meaning if you have a lot of direct sunlight, and we do here in the Dallas area, if the surface of the sidewall gets really, really hot from UV light, that silicone or that solvent-based dressing will start to reactivate. It will start to liquefy again, even though you dried it when you first put it on the tire, and it will get slimy all over again because of the rays from the sun and a tremendous amount of heat. You have far less of that issue with a water-based dressing. So that's my pick when it comes to water-based dressings. I'm a big fan of the Hyper Dressing by Meguiar's because it's dilutable. It allows me not only to have this product to be able to use to dress tires, I can dress plastic around the vehicle, I can dress the engine bay. It's just a versatile product, and I think it's just one of the best water-based dressings out there. Now, if I'm looking for more of a dedicated tire dressing, I'll use something like Chemical Guy's VRP, or I'll use Meguiar's Professional Line Tire and Trim Gel. Again, these are like gels. These are in a liquidable form where you spray it out of a bottle, so they're kind of like pouring skin lotion out of a bottle, and these work really well. So that's my pick when it comes to the best tire dressings. Love Chemical Guy's VRP, the Detailer's Professional Choice by Meguiar's Tire and Trim Gel, and then of course the Hyper Dressing because it's so versatile. I hope that's helped you out a little bit how I choose to dress the tire, the products I use, the little techniques of using the blower to blow out the excess product from the little grooves in the tire, and also helping that dressing dry a lot quicker, so when my customer takes the car after a detail, I'm not worried about it slinging on the car. It works really well for that. Hopefully that's helped you out. Again, I appreciate you watching these videos. Sorry if this one was a little bit too long, but there was some technical stuff I wanted to go over. Hopefully that's answered all your questions. If it hasn't, leave a comment down below. I'll get to it when I get a chance. I appreciate it.